Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Bonjour et bienvenue pour ce nouvel épisode d'Os du Council. Hier, j'étais pas tellement emballé par ce qui s'est passé, par les interrogatoires. Agréablement surpris de Bonaparte. Voilà. Et on n'est pas au bon endroit. Alors, en fait, c'est peut-être là qu'il faut que j'aille. Parce qu'il a dit que c'était en face du bureau. Donc c'est là, tu descends pour du bureau. C'est parti. On va essayer de faire le tour. C'est de pas trop perdre de temps. Ouais. Il manque encore Holm, Sir Gregory Holm, que je n'ai pas pu interroger tout simplement. Du coup, Emily Hosbrough a une sœur jumelle qui s'est fait descendre. La question à 15 points, est-ce que quand ma mère a tiré, elle savait que c'était la sœur et pas Emily, je sais pas. C'est très curieux. Du coup, on a dit que c'était peut-être cette porte. On est où? C'était la porte là. Dites-moi oui. Oui, je pense que c'est là. Allons-y. Allez à la chambre de la tour. Je sais plus ce qu'on devait faire. On verra. Wow.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is on to us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Au fond de moi, je pense quand même que ma mère, elle a les miquettes de Mortimer. Là, je l'ai revu ici, je peux pas la prendre. Je pense qu'elle a vraiment peur de Mortimer, c'est pour ça qu'elle se cache, parce que sinon, elle ferait appel à lui. Et quelque part, je pense que lui, il se sert de moi pour retrouver Mortimer, je parle, pour retrouver ma mère. Du coup, c'est flou. Et qui pourrait être l'allié? Je ne pense pas que ce soit Emily, vu qu'elle a buté sa sœur. Encore que, d'après ce que je comprends, le bouquin, en fait, c'est ce que la sœur elle a caché au début dans la vision. Elle dit ce qui est caché, etc., etc. Oui. Très bien, et du coup elle la flingue parce que en fait personne ne doit savoir où est ce livre. Donc je pense que c'est le livre du tout début que Van Borchett voulait récupérer pour vendre au marché noir. Maintenant elle est là. Je pense qu'elle se planque de Mortimer et je ne sais pas du tout qui peut être son allié potentiel, c'est compliqué. Sir Gregory Holmes, il me paraît être le plus douteux, mais c'est peut-être aussi lui le plus on va dire l'allié entre guillemets. Maintenant donc ça va savoir toi. Moi,
Dante's paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in Aurais.
Okay.
What is this disc?
Une pierre magnétique. Bim. Un aimant de forme circulaire. Ok.
St. Paul on the road to Damascus, by Caravaggio.
Ah oui, Il était aveuglé.
Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors, too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
Pourquoi pas. Bon, je sais pas trop là, c'est un truc que je peux.
Carmelite water.
De l'eau
They
de
say that if you
Carme.
drink this, it gives you a real boost.
What is that? IDK, I don't know. Bon.
The door appears to be locked on the other side.
Ouvrir.
I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a
Qui
key falling to the floor.
Et oui, magnétique bien sûr.
We'll see if it works.
Ease. Coquin.
It's open.
Bon. Ouais, je suis blindé de toute façon. La foi et l'épée.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Ok. C'est pas facile.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Je crois que j'ai la clé. J'ai la clé de gauche, la clé de droite. Il y a deux verrous.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
Formidable.
The New Testament.
Ah. Alors. Ah. Avant de tout lire, j'ai envie de dire 11 souligné deux fois. 2. Oh là là. Eh bah, plouf plouf. Oh là là là, est-ce qu'on a envie de se lancer là-dedans? La Bible de Gutenberg. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Volume of the Gutenberg Bible. This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord.
Bon, c'est forcément dans ce bouquin qu'il y a des trucs. Allez, on va faire dans l'ordre. Oh là 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 là, on va faire comme ça, tout. Oh là 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 là.
Then they suborned men, which said, "We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God."
Et c'est tout.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
Wow.
Wait, a note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say?
Ok, bon.
Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
Ok, donc I, cache trouvé le livre et cachez-le, c'est ce que je disais tout à l'heure, c'est la sœur de Emily, qui s'appelle Emma, il me semblerait-il bien, et elle est cachée derrière le plus jeune apôtre.
It's St. John, painted by Guido Rini. The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. But wasn't my mother said that she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle? Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add one companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean?
Je vais leur lire.
On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add one companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? They should add a companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their ranks. I imagine it applies to their code, the one Mother set up with the pilgrims. What's this? A group of pilgrims who Paul was talking to, and now John is telling them prophecies?
Alors, 1 à gauche et 3 à droite.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Rini. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Devil's thorn. I'll keep it.
Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Rini. There's nothing worth noticing here.
Alors là, commode, inspecter le meuble poussiéreux de droite. Examiner le chandelier derrière le tableau.
It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years. No, nothing of value here. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Bon, bah c'est bien. Suivez la piste laissée par votre mère in the Bible.
If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us.
Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? Ah, what? Nous devons trouver un moyen. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Plus sûr d'échanger quelqu'un. Ah oui, c'est le. Fiez-vous. D'accord, c'est. Wow, ok. Fiez-vous à ma foi en l'homme à l'épée. Là-bas. Paul 1 sur 2, Épître aux Romains, chapitre 1, verset 11. Heureuse que vous ayez trouvé cette note. J'avais peur que le code de deux groupes de pèlerins ne vous déroute. Récupérez le livre où vous savez et cachez-le où personne ne le trouvera. C'est impératif. J'attends votre réponse cachée derrière le plus jeune apôtre. Donc on a vu que le plus jeune était lui. La réponse était, je ne sais plus ce que c'est. Hop. C'était quoi déjà?
They should add a companion
oui.
to their left
Un à gauche
and
et trois à
three to
droite.
their right to complete their ranks. I imagine it applies to their code, the one Mother set up with the pilgrims. What's this? The group of pilgrims who Paul was talking to, and now John is telling them prophecies?
Ah, un à droite et 3 à gauche. Ce sera un chapitre 3, verset 1, quelque chose. Alors. Jean 1, 3. Il n'y a pas. Il n'y a pas. Zut, flûte. On va pas tous les faire. Non, c'est un à droite, 3 à gauche. C'est un 3-1 en fait. Pas un 1-3.
Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God.
Quiche.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Et c'est tout. Ok. Voilà, franchement, je kiblo. For real.
Amber.
Petit coquin. Alors. Le chandelier, il est à gauche. La commode, elle est devant. À droite, derrière. Je peux
It's
regarder
too
derrière.
cumbersome for me to unhook
Ah
here,
oui.
but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years. Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the
Ah oui.
urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Je connais pas. Par contre, c'était les alentours. C'était le meuble poussiéreux.
There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust.
8 marques de doigts.
8 in all.
Puis marques de doigts. C'était Jean, je crois, non? Je sais plus, putain, je suis perdu. en hébreu.
But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Il y a eu des complications, effectivement, le Prussien, donc le Allemand est présent. Que se passe-t-il de votre côté? Avez-vous besoin d'aide? Si ce soir est impossible, disons demain soir, dans la chambre sud, où nous avions fait le point. Lorsque Paul a compris que seuls les actes comptaient, il est revenu sur ses pas. J'attendais votre confirmation à sa gauche, en compagnie des pèlerins qui se sont ajoutés à lui. Il faut que je trouve un Paul à gauche, dans la chambre sud, maybe. Attends. Qu'est-ce que...
And he became very hungry, and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that?
C'est probablement allégorique. Je dois passer au travers du cauchemar. Ça peut pas être littéral.
I'm guessing it's a metaphor. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
Donc elle se planque de l'allemand. La daronne. J'ai gagné je sais pas quoi. Ça. Putain, je peux pas y lire. Mais qu'est-ce que c'est naze? C'est naze qu'on a un journal, on a plein de trucs dans les poches et on sait pas où y lire, comment y lire, qu'est-ce que... J'ai raté. Waouh. J'ai refusé de désigner un coupable. Je n'ai pas compris le message de ma mère au sujet du cauchemar. Punaise, c'est donc littéral. J'ai découvert le message de ma mère. J'aurais pu retrouver la conversation entre ma mère et son associé. Bah, un petit peu quand même. J'ai pas retrouvé, d'accord, mais... Ah, au moins niveau 6, par pitié. Oh, dur. Waouh. Ah, par contre là, j'ai 3 bouquins à lire, mon petit chat. Érudition, interrogatoire, non, étiquette, diversion, manipulation. Il y aura celui-là, c'est sûr. Il y aura celui-là, c'est sûr. Interrogatoire, non, étiquette, diversion, manipulation. On serait étiquette. C'est bête que je puisse pas Ne peut pas être équipé. Rassembler toutes les pages du manuscrit pour le lire. Wow.
It's time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon.
Alors, juste un truc. Ça. J'ai des petits points. C'est pas ouf, mais j'ai quelques petits points. Du coup, là, je pense que les consommables, ils vont voler à la pelle. « 25 minutes. Ah, on va aller voir.
You
Bonsoir.
are expected in the small salon, sir.
Le petit salon, c'est en bas. Pardon.
Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis? About last night, I'm guessing.
Sadly, no. Even if I'd like to have, alas. There are more pressing matters. I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
Must have been Emma I saw in my vision. I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay. I've got a question that might seem a little bit strange.
I'm listening.
If I said go beyond the nightmare, would that ring any bells?
No, means nothing to me. Do you mean literally or figuratively speaking?
Oh bah non.
It might be a place, I don't know where, but it's a lead.
You ought to ask His Eminence. He knows the house and its estate very well, being a frequent visitor here.
Thanks for the advice. Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge.
Est-ce que je lui dis? Est-ce que je ne dis rien? Est-ce qu'elle a ma confiance? Je suis pas... Allez, on va lui dire.
Emily, there's something else.
Go on then.
It's about your sister. I don't know what happened exactly, but it's possible that my mother had a go at her.
I know, Louis. I found out that same evening. Well, thanks for not trying to hide it.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know if I could trust you. Now I know I can. It seems that your mother tricked Emma. She apparently asked her to hide an important book, so that even she wouldn't know where it was. And then she shot her like a dog to make sure no one would ever find it again.
How did you find out?
Sir Gregory told me on my arrival.
I'm sincerely sorry, Emily.
What?
Thank you, Louis. You're very kind. It means a lot to me. But you do realize your mother will have to accept the consequences of her acts.
There must be an explanation, Emily.
That's what we shall see.
We'll speak about it later, somewhere safe.
Tu vois ce que je veux dire?
They're waiting for us.
Bon, ça se frite derrière là. C'est qui?
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Calm now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
Ah, c'est le petit nouveau qui est arrivé.
And what has Mr. Peru done to once again provoke someone's anger?
We don't really know just yet.
I get the feeling it won't be long before it gets out.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Oh, italien.
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined. What?
Oh, no.
The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchies are in danger. I have said it before. How dare they?
Oh, dear.
Oh, as if...
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous. Bastard. He was sentenced
Cabron.
to death by 361 votes to 360. You beheaded a king for one vote. Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please. Let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, Duchess, we're all among people of reputable company here. We should be able to manage the conflicts of our nations in a respectful and orderly manner.
I fully agree with you, sir.
But
That's enough, sir.
with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
Louis Maras de Richet.
Are you related to Sarah de Richet?
Sarah is his mother, Duke. Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us by surprise. Let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured. The response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
Ok. On va faire un split parfait, les amis.
could you spare a moment, please, sir?
Bien
Glad you
sûr.
asked. I want to talk to you too. Of course.
Oh.
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
Why? Is there something you particularly wanted from her?
No, not specially.
My questions made him feel uneasy, but he's keeping his emotions under control.
Your mother and I used to often speak together. I have rarely met someone so learned. To tell you the truth, I was about to make a deal with her. Did she tell you about our arrangement?
On va tenter, hein, on va claquer tout ça. C'est le 3, Accord de Malte.
The cat's out of the bag now. More or less, but please do refresh my memory.
Yes, of course. Nothing of great importance in itself. During one of our discussions, she spoke of an old book, which might have been of interest to me, and she had agreed to let me have it.
A book about what?
Ancient occultism. As you are aware, I am a doctor of theology. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
I found one.
Quite old? With locks on every chapter?
Oh no. I'm sorry, sir. This one is the Mysterium Cosmographicum, a book she is particularly fond of.
Oh, no. That's not the one.
Poor man's disgusted. I shouldn't play with his nerves. I'll look again. You seem very upset. Is it so important to you, this book?
Well, it's the search of a lifetime. What can I say? Every time I move closer to it, it seems to slip away at the last minute. I was very surprised to learn that your mother had it in her possession. I thought it was with a certain von Borchardt in Paris. Do you know him?
Indeed. My mother and I had a brush with this individual just a few months ago.
What about?
About an object stolen from the Order a few years ago, which my mother wanted to recover.
Ah. This situation comes as a great surprise to me.
I got him now. I hope I've been able to satisfy your curiosity, Mr. von Wollner, and that you succeed in finding what you're looking for.
Oh, and so do I.
And now, what if you told me who you really are working for, instead of keeping up this pretense?
I beg your pardon?
We both know what you're looking for, von Wollner. You're the one who von Borchardt was planning to sell it to.
For centuries, all those who have come into contact with the Al-Azif have bitterly regretted it, Monsieur de Richet. You are playing a dangerous game. Please know that I am working for someone who does not appreciate anyone poking around in his business.
Let me guess. Lord Mortimer.
Oh, you are way off the mark. There's nothing more for us to say. Goodbye.
Mais on a le droit de se tromper. Alors je réussis une confrontation, tout ça pour finir dégoûté. Dégoûté, puis ça se passe mal. Alors du coup, c'est lui l'invité surprise. Favori du roi Charles IV, espagnol, pas italien, pardon. Gravit rapidement les échelons de la politique, amant de la reine Marie-Louise Bourbon de Parme, il attire sur lui les jalousies des princes d'Espagne. En tant que secrétaire d'État, il développa et renforça l'empire colonial espagnol, notamment aux Amériques. Il œuvra pour la libération de Louis XVI, dont il était très proche, mais en vain. Effectivement, ceci attisa son ressentiment contre le gouvernement républicain français. Invité par Sir Gregory Holmes, on a fait présente ses Mortimer avec la fermentation de calmer les volontés d'expansion des États-Unis d'Amérique sur leur continent. Oui. Donc j'ai tout. Ah, ils ont mis vraiment la même tête, c'est dommage. Hillsborough Emily and Hillsborough Emma. C'est exactement la même trombine, c'est dommage. Ok. C'est pas facile, hein. Bien. Et bah écoutez, on va s'arrêter là. 40 minutes, j'ai encore dépassé. J'en suis bien navré. Bon, bah en tout cas, merci de m'avoir suivi. Encore une fois, petit pouce bleu, abonnement, si ça vous dit. Et sinon, pour les autres, je vous dis à demain.